Hi everybody, this is Garrett with another episode of Produce Your Freedom. Today I'm starting a series on strategies for dealing with tragic chaos. There seem to have been a lot of tragic and chaotic and violent, harmful events lately that have come about, and a lot of people are looking for political or government solutions or people to blame in all these things. And if you know this channel and know me well at this point, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for what I can do to better my situation to produce freedom for myself in my life. So how does this produce freedom? Well, if we can fare better in these situations, do better in these situations, we can hopefully avoid some crippling injuries and thus be able to maintain our overall health and continue to provide for our families. There's a financial aspect there, and generally continue to live. If you're deceased, your freedom's really not a big concern at that point. Right? Being alive is kind of crucial to that freedom aspect. So this week we're going to talk about physical fitness, and I'm going to do a bunch of installments here. I might give you a sneak peek at the end of this episode. So physical fitness in this context is not becoming the bodybuilder of the year, Hulk Hogan. I know that's an old reference. I guess maybe Terry Crews type person. We can't all be that. We can't all do that. It requires an enormous amount of time, training, specific diet, and if we did that, we probably wouldn't be able to devote as much attention to other areas of our freedom and other strategies for this tragic chaos concept. So that's not really what we're aiming for here. What we're trying to do is improve our physical condition to a point where we can move quickly over decently long distances if need be, hopefully while helping other people around us if we can, and to deal with the physical demands that an injury or something like that in a situation like this might put on us. So the number one benefit of the physical fitness is being able to get out of that situation without being injured, hopefully get out of it relatively quickly. And the number two benefit here is that if we are injured, our body goes through a lot of different problems and issues, but if you're in fairly good physical condition, you can probably handle those stresses and injuries longer and until medical help arrives or until you can reach medical help. And if you're injured, you have enough strength elsewhere in your body, hopefully, that if you hurt a leg or something like that, if you were stronger than most to begin with, you stand a better chance of getting to that medical help despite the injury. So I already kind of pointed out that you don't have to bulk up at all. Really, the focus of the fitness training here you'd want to look at is you and your family members' body weight. And I don't mean that in the sense of, oh, you should lose weight, and this is all about, being thin and trim and slim. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you don't need too much physical strength beyond what it takes to move people's body weight. You don't need to be able to bench press 400 pounds because odds are all you're doing is moving you and some other people. Now, it could be helpful to be able to lift a car off of someone, but in all likelihood, the most important things are being able to move quickly, agilely, and to lift enough weight to help a child or to help someone else, help an adult. You don't have to be able to carry an adult. We all have our different physical limitations. I'm not a big guy, never have been. I've worked out a lot in the past, and I've never been able to be big. So just understand that's a limitation that you may have. You may also have a cane, a walker, a wheelchair. I'm still talking to you. There's still improvements over wherever you are at that can be made. If you use a cane and you kind of go to your fastest pace that you can comfortably and safely do, and you can sustain that for about 25 seconds, let's say, then you're going to push for 30, and you're going to hope that those extra 5 seconds help you. And over time, you can improve. I know there's limits to everything, but even individuals in wheelchairs can certainly move. There are certainly people who move quickly and people who move slowly in wheelchairs. There are people who play sports in wheelchairs, and then there are people who struggle to move quickly in them. So there is some room for improvement somewhere in that spectrum for everybody. When I focus on moving our weight and our family members' weight, you want to consider some of the types of motions you might have to do. Running and walking are pretty obvious, but moving a distance in a crawl like all fours or in an army style crawl, being able to hoist yourself up onto a ledge or down off of a ledge, or being able to comfortably kind of hop over a ledge or climb or scramble over obstacles and pick up some objects of decent weight that might be blocking you or in your way are all very useful things. So you can kind of tailor your workout around what you think you're weakest in that context, and kind of think about the types of things you might have to do and work towards that. If you have children, I would suggest first, trying to somehow simulate carrying a child or something like that, if possible, while running or while doing X, Y, and Z. So you do that, you might use, you might use some kettlebells, you might use all sorts of things. You could use a really big sack of potatoes or rice or concrete or whatever, depends where you're at in the strength spectrum of things, but the idea is you want to also be able to help other people. And I think that's one way we can mitigate the damage done by a lot of tragic situations. If we're thinking about other people and we've trained a little bit to help others, and that can certainly help the overall outcome of the situation. I'd emphasize stair training and climbing small obstacles a little bit as well. So take the stairs instead of the elevator, something as simple as that. Over time, you're going to build up certain muscles. Hiking is great for both of these if that's something you enjoy, because you work different muscles. You step on uneven ground a lot, and you have to kind of make these huge strides up or a huge stride out to step over something, or much higher step than normal. Just all these unusual things. You might have to go under a tree limb or over a downed tree, or scramble kind of up a rock. And these are all kind of somewhat simulations of, if a beam came down in a fire or something like that, and you have to try and get over it or under it to get out, something to that effect. Or if you're trying to scramble under a truck to get out of a street, or just to get across the street where a crowd of people are trying to run across the street, and you see that everyone's going around it. Well, if you can scramble under it pretty quickly, that might help. So we're going to work on body weight training and cardio training primarily, and the whole goal is towards agility, movement, and some slight weight bearing capacity. Now, the weight bearing capacity kind of all depends. If you're a big hefty guy and you got a really tiny girlfriend and she weighs a whole 90 pounds or something like that, you could pretty much, if she were injured, you could pretty much fire her and carry her out of a lot of situations. So you might focus on, if you are kind of bigger in stature, you might focus on getting to that point muscle-wise, whereas someone slightly smaller might have to kind of tailor their goals differently. Hopefully that gets you thinking a little bit, and hopefully that's a solution that you can start implementing right now. You could do it today just by taking a walk, that if you find yourself in a tragic situation, will help you triumph and win. Remember, produce your freedom, or life will produce your chains.